Hey guys. Well, it's time for me to read Wayside School to you one last time before the end of the year. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Our chapter this time is number 5, and it's called A Story with a Disappointing Ending. Paul's father was a security guard at a museum. The museum had a very famous painting. It was painted by Leonardo da Vinci. It was called the Mona Lisa. Next to the painting, there was a sign.
Do not touch.
All day long, Paul's father made sure nobody touched the painting. At night, after the museum closed, Paul's father was alone. Just him and the Mona Lisa. And the sign.
Do not touch. Do not touch. Do not.
He was dying to touch it. The tips of his fingers tingled with desire. But this story isn't about Paul's father. It's about Paul. Paul was a student in Mrs. Jewell's class. He sat behind Leslie. Leslie had 2 long brown pigtails that reached down to her waist. They just hung there all day, right in front of Paul's face. The Mona Leslie.
Do not touch. Do not touch. Do not.
But Paul reached out and yanked. Screamed Leslie. Mrs. Jewell sent Paul to the counselor's office. The counselor's office was on the 4th floor. Paul had never been there before. Like every student in Wayside School, he was afraid of the counselor. The counselor had a very scary face with big bushy eyebrows and a little beard on his pointed chin. Paul knocked on the door. "Come in," said the counselor. Paul entered and sat down on the couch. "So, what's the problem?" asked the counselor.
I pulled Leslie's pigtails again. I know it's wrong. I just can't help myself.
"Watch the pickle," said the counselor. Paul's eyes went back and forth as he stared at the swaying pickle.
Watch me. Watch me.
"You are getting very sleepy. Your eyes are getting very heavy." Paul suddenly felt very tired. He could hardly open his eyes. "When I count to 3, you will fall into a deep sleep. 1, 2, 3. Paul wasn't exactly asleep. He felt like he was living in a dream. But it was a very pleasant dream. He felt happy and safe. "Can you hear me?" asked the counselor.
Yes.
Said Paul. He was no longer afraid of the counselor. In fact, he liked him a lot. "You will do what I say."
I will do what you say.
Repeated Paul. "I am going to count to 5, and then you will wake up. You will return to your classroom. You will take your seat behind Leslie. You will want to pull one of her pigtails, but when you reach for it, it will turn into a rattlesnake."
Leslie's pigtails are rattlesnakes.
"Very good. Now, just one more thing." He rubbed his beard and smiled. "When Leslie says the word pencil, her ears will turn into candy. The most delicious candy in the world. The candy of your dreams." Paul licked his lips. He could almost taste the rich chocolate and chewy caramel. and you will try to eat the candy.
When Leslie says pencil, I will try to eat her ears,
said Paul. The counselor counted to 5. Paul's eyes blinked open. You may go back to class now, said the counselor.
I'm not in trouble?
Asked Paul. Nope, said the counselor. Paul shrugged. He returned to class. As he passed Leslie, she stuck her tongue out at him. He sat down behind her. What'd the counselor do to you? Asked Eric Fry.
Nothing. He's a nice man.
He looked at Leslie's pigtails. He had pulled the one on the right, but he still wanted to pull the one on the left. He lunged for it, but it hissed at him, and its tail rattled. He screamed and fell back over his chair, and everyone laughed. Everyone laughed at him. Paul, are you all right? Asked Mrs. Jules.
I guess so,
said Paul, getting back up. He didn't feel much like pulling Leslie's pigtails anymore. It was just a short while later that Leslie's pencil point broke. Ah, great, she complained. What's wrong? Asked Jenny, who sat next to Leslie. Leslie just showed her the broken pencil point. You want to borrow mine? Asked Eric Fry, who sat behind Jenny. Nah, I'll just go sharpen it, said Leslie. She went to the back of the room and sharpened her pencil. She returned to her seat. She set the pencil on her desk, but it rolled off when she sat down. Hey, where'd it go? She asked, turning around.
Where did what go?
Asked Paul. Oh, there it is, under Paul's desk.
What's under my desk?
Oh, here, I'll get it, said Eric Fry. He reached under Paul's desk, picked up the pencil, and handed it to Leslie. She thanked him, and everyone returned to their work. The end. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. If you ever want to find out if Leslie ever says pencil and makes Paul think that her ears are delicious, chewy candies, you'll have to find the book. Wayside School gets a little stranger. This was chapter 5, and there are 30 chapters in this book. I was looking through the names of the titles, and there's one called Mr. Gorf. There's another one called Mr. Poop. There's one called Ears. I wonder if that's the one. But yeah, I've really enjoyed reading these chapters to you guys. I hope you have too. Bye.